What's good, y'all? Rich Sosa back in a building with another banger. Now, first things first, before we go ahead and get started, I gotta go ahead and say thank God for another day and another opportunity. Today, man, I got a very special build in store for y'all. Now, this one today, it's gonna be the Meta inside center, which is going to come out to a glass cleaning interior thread. So before we get any further into this video, if it's your first time coming through, be sure to hit that sub button if you're new, smash that like button, turn on post notifications to be a part of the Rich family, and last but definitely not least, comment down TG for thank God and where you're tuning in from, and I most definitely will be sure to get back to y'all with a response. So to get started, the very first thing that you want to do is put this build at the center position. We can go ahead and leave the height at 7 feet. Moving into the weight, I'm going to go ahead and put this to 282 with a wingspan of 710. Now this build, out of all NBA players, it does remind me of Shaq Diesel. So to get started with this build, you gotta be sure that you follow along each and every single step of the way. If you question anything, I promise y'all it's for a specific reason. So let's go ahead and get started. As for the stamina, I'm gonna go ahead and put this to a 92. Getting into the vertical, I like this best at a 75. Now most centers are not gonna have this high of a rating. Getting into the strength, make sure you go with a 95. And then as for the acceleration, I'm going to go with a 45 with a speed of a 60. Now take into consideration this factor. You'll be able to get a +4 put towards this area from your Gatorade facility workouts. So we'll have a 64 speed, 49 acceleration, strength of a 99, 79 vertical with a 96 stamina. Now I think this build is perfect for the way that I'm making it. But as we get into the rest, I promise y'all, this is going to be one of my favorite areas to get started with, and that's going to be the defense. So as for this defensive rebound, I'm going to go with an 80. As for the offensive, I think this is going to be best at a 93. Now moving into the block, I'm going to go with an 87. And you can lower or raise this number to your own preference, playstyle, and liking. Now getting into that interior defense, I'm going to go with a 74. We can go ahead and leave the perimeter at a 40, and this is essentially what the build is going to be looking like. As for the defensive end, the badges that are going to be most important in my eyes is going to be Hall of Fame Box Out Beast. You get Pogo Stick on Gold with Rebound Chaser. Now as far as for the rest of the areas, for the block I do like Silver Anchor and Chase Down Artist, and then for the perimeter you do get Silver Workhorse with Anchor as well as Post Lockdown. Now I really do believe that on the defensive end, the height as well as the weight mixed together is really a strong combination, considering we'll have a 99 strength. Now as we go ahead and get into the pass accuracy, the minimum threshold for this build and what I found is going to be a 60. I've even seen from 2K Labs that you can go with a 50 rating, and the frame rate is only about 4 to 5, which makes a huge difference if you're looking at timing. Accuracy is a complete different step, but as for the ball handle, I want to make sure that on this build you do go with a 52. Now at least go with a 40 if you want to go ahead and lower this rating. The reason why I say that is because it will allow you to unlock the normal dribble packages, and for my type of playstyle, those are going to be essential for any type of center. Now for the speed with ball, I'm going to go with a 40. And the badges that we did unlock are going to be Dimer. You also do get Post Playmaker and Relay Passer. For this type of rating, with boost and possibly even your takeover activated, I think this build is going to be perfect. Now as we go ahead and get into the free throw, go ahead and put this to a 46. As for the mid-range shot, I'm going to go with the same exact thing. And for this build, like I said, it is a Meta inside center, so we are not going to have to worry about this side of the ball. Now to get started with the juicy stuff, I want to go ahead and put my post control all the way up to a 95. Getting into the standing dunk, I'm going to go with a 92. And this right here is actually going to allow us to get all of those elite big man contact dunks. Now getting into the rest of this area for the driving dunk, I'm going to go with a 65. This will allow us to unlock certain driving dunk packages. And then finally, to wrap everything up, I'm going to go with an 86 for my close shot. Now this will allow you to hit post hooks from deep. Let's go ahead and check out the badges. The ones that I like most are going to be Fast Twitch with Fearless Finisher. Master is definitely important. You do get Post Fade Phenom. Dream Shake, Hook Specialist on the gold tier with Hall of Fame Pro Touch. Now Giant Slayer makes this build all the better. And then once we go ahead and get into the actual driving layup, we're going to be able to get 2-step and spin cycle for our driving dunk. I like Precision Dunker and Aerial Wizard. For the standing dunk, we do get Gold Fast Twitch and Rise Up, which I think definitely is one of the most overpowered badge setups for this type of build. Now as for the post control itself, the badges that I like most are going to be Unpluckable with Gold, Hall of Fame Back Down Punisher, definitely Drop Stepper. Now this move is one of the most overpowered, not only moves, animations, but badges. Now we also will be able to get Hall of Fame Post Spin Technician. Dream Shake on gold is more than enough to break ankles inside the post. If you don't know already, this badge, if you go ahead and post your defender up, hit the right stick left or right, you're going to be able to put them on the floor and definitely break their ankles. Now we also will be able to say that this build as a whole is one of the best centers that you can possibly make and go after. Now if you're looking to take this build into the 1v1 setting, I definitely think that your opponent is in store for one of the most headaches of a build. One of the most toxic post scores that you can possibly make. Now if you want to go ahead and take into account what I would rate this build for a user rating, I'm going to go ahead and say a 9 out of 10, only because of the fact that if you have no experience being a post scorer, this is definitely going to be the build that you would want to make. If you want to make any changes or adjustments, go ahead and do so now. You may get a different build name, but also take into consideration buying your own boost, activating your takeover, the boost that we get from wearing gear, as well as the boost that we get from playing well throughout each game. That's going to allow us to get a 100 plus towards the areas that I mentioned. The close shot as well as the standing dunk and post control. We'll also be able to apply that towards the block, offensive and defensive rebound with our strength. Now I really want to know your thoughts and opinion on this archetype down below. Is there anything that you would possibly do to make it even better? Now let's go ahead and move forward to make sure that we made the build correctly. Now if you did, we should be able to get these 3 shades of Shaquille O'Neal. And now as y'all can see, together we have created the meta inside center post scoring build glass cleaning interior threat. Now I want to say thank y'all so much for the support. More so than anything, thank God for another day and another opportunity. Now do take into consideration the boosts and apply them to where I just mentioned. You'll be able to see the true and full potential of today's build. Now look, before we get out of here, if it was your first time coming through, be sure to hit that sub button if you're new. Smash that like button. Turn on post notifications to be a part of the rich family. And last but definitely not least, comment down TG for thank God and where you're tuning in from, and I most definitely will be sure to get back to y'all with a response. And with all that being said though, I got one last thing to say. Rich out.